Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Tuesday. It is the 25th day of January 2022. I hope you're healthy and COVID free today and that your family is also healthy and COVID free. I hope the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, and health are being met. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, trying to save lives every day, along with those that are the first responders. Blessings upon those also that pick up garbage from our streets and sidewalks to keep them clean and disease free. Blessings also upon those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings upon those that are trying to help deliver and rescue the men and women, boys and girls, teenagers and toddlers that are the victims of prostitution, of child prostitution, of pornography and child pornography, of pedophilia and child molestation, of human trafficking and sex slavery, and double curses upon the perverts and profiteers that traffic in this misery. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. 600,000 men, women, and children in the United States alone, and millions around the world here in the middle of winter with no roof over their head. Blessings upon them and on those trying to help them, for theirs is the kingdom. There was a basketball game last night in Cleveland, Ohio. Our New York Knicks lost a very hotly contested and close game to the Cleveland Cavaliers, 95-93. This is one of the things that is so maddening about this year's Knicks. We have the talent. I don't care what anybody says. We have the talent, the roster, the personnel. As R.J. Barrett actually said, after the win that we had, the last win that we had, they could beat anybody. On any given night, they could beat anybody. And that's the truth. They could beat anybody. As he said after we beat the Clippers, they could beat anybody on any given night. They really do have the talent to do it. What's frustrating is watching them lose a game that they could easily win. They could have easily won the game. And I totally understand when people from Knicks Nation question, second guess some of Thibodeau's moves. I totally get it. It's very tempting to do. Very tempting to do, especially in the heat of the game. It's very frustrating to watch some of his rotations. It's very frustrating to do. It's not easy. I'm going to admit it's difficult. And obviously y'all know I'm a Thibs fan. I greatly respect him as a coach. Definitely. But last night it's almost like you can predict what he's going to do. And it's not hard. So one of the things I noticed is that, the bench unit, when it's together, and now finally, like with all the COVID stuff, the team, as most teams, were in disarray. Like the bench unit wasn't together. They were mixing and matching in the starting unit. People weren't used to playing together. It was a difficult time, for the Knicks. So I don't even count that really as a good litmus of anything. But now the bench unit is back together, and in fact, it's been strengthened with the addition of Cam Reddish. Now, we knew, you should have known, if Kemba Walker is starting, Cam Reddish is not playing. All right? That's something you got to understand. Because if Kemba Walker is starting, then Alec Burks goes to the bench. And Alec Burks going to the bench unit pushes somebody out. In this case, it's Cam Reddish. So if Kemba is not starting, if Alec Burks is starting or IQ is starting at the point guard, then Cam Reddish would be brought into the second unit. So the minute they said, Kemba's going to go, I knew Cam Reddish wasn't going to play. Okay. So that's how it is. But the bench unit that we have is really good. So like last night, the bench unit scored 34 points. Our bench scored 34 points last night. Overall, they were plus like 50. Let's see, 33, 53, 50, 49. They were plus 49, the bench last night. And to his credit, Tom actually went 10 deep last night. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but he went 10 deep last night. Okay. So the bench unit did their thing. Mobb Deep is one of the best in the NBA, and they did their thing. And the thing is, we've seen this lots of times. We've seen this movie. So the movie goes like this. Usually the first unit starts off slow, gets behind. Okay. Bench unit comes in, catches up. First unit goes back in, loses the lead. Bench unit comes back in, gets the lead back. Then it's a fight at the end. That's the script that we've been seeing all season. Now, we expected as the season progressed and as Tom figured out who his first unit was and really his rotation, he took about 30 games, if you recall, to figure that out. 20 games, 30 games, something like that. That maybe the first unit would start to not give up leads, not come out slow, right? And then especially the third quarter was always our Achilles heel. No matter how good we played, terrible in the third quarter, and it made the bench have to dig out from a bigger hole. So this past Sunday against the Clippers, he kept the bench in. He took too long, and this is the problem. This is the thing I wanted to bring up. Third quarters are bad for the Knicks. Worst quarter for the Knicks is the third quarter. I think everybody knows that. So he keeps the first unit in. And it's obvious. They're going to lose whatever lead we had. They're going to lose it. And the deficit's going to get bigger. So there have been times when that happens that he gets them out the game at about 6 minutes and puts in the bench unit. And generally those games, the bench unit brings them back and then gets a lead into the fourth quarter. Then the question becomes, are you going to leave them in there? Or are you going to start subbing in some of these starters and make the game closer than it needs to be? Okay. Couple of times he's left them in and they finished. I think it was once or twice. He finished with Obi Toppin and Mobb Deep and they won the game. Most times he keeps them in too long in the third quarter. I don't know if he's just stubbornly trying to will them to play better. But, and again, it happened last night. So you had the Mobb Deep coming there. They tied the game. The game was tied at half. Okay. Then the third quarter, actually, the starting unit started off pretty good, but you knew that wasn't going to last. Okay. It wasn't going to last. First off, the reason it wasn't one of the reasons is because if you notice when Kemba's out there, teams scout every team, right? So they were going to attack Kemba Walker. They were going to do that on the pick and roll, and they were doing that. For the most part, the Knicks were able to deal with it in the first half, but I knew they weren't going to stop doing that. They were going to continue to do that. Okay. And so that's what they did. And then in the third quarter, it started catching up to us. Okay. And he made a sub. He put Alec Burke in, but by this time now, the snowball was going the other way. One of the also biggest problems last night was Julius Randle. This is what it was driving me. And when I can see it, like when they're coming in right in front of me, it's so hard to watch. So I'm watching, say, for example, two Knicks double team the ball. Neither of them are Julius. Julius is either guarding Kevin Love or he's guarding the kid Wade. His name is D Wade, not the D Wade, but his name is D Wade. And both of those guys can shoot the rock. So he decided on at least 3 occasions, maybe more, to leave his man that can shoot the rock and go and triple team. And then not only triple team, but not get back to his man. Like he's over there and now I'm here and I can't get back over there. And 3-pointer, splash, splash, splash. I could live with Kevin Love or this guy Wade shooting a 3-pointer and hitting it with somebody in his face. I have a problem when you're just lazily triple teaming somebody unnecessarily and not getting back on your man. Because what he did there is he left The other guy usually was RJ to guard two guys. And that's done. That's it. One time, he did it multiple times. One time, though, in the fourth quarter, he did it. And Wade was open. But what happened, I think it was Garland threw up a bad shot and it was a 24-second violation. That saved us. That was near the end of the game. But then, of course, there's the dreaded turnovers. And he had 4 turnovers last night. And the only reason they weren't more is because the game was, RJ started taking over the game. Otherwise, he'd have had more turnovers. So those two things. Okay, and it's very frustrating to watch Obi Toppin score 13 points in 15 minutes. And those of you talking about only thing he could do is dunk, have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea. You need to go back and look at film of him from Dayton and look at film of him from the Summer League and understand he's an all-round player. The only weakness he had was his defense, and he has shored that up. When he came in, he had Kevin Love on lock. On lock. Okay? When Julius was in, they had a field day. I think Kevin Love and Wade scored a 1-3 over Obi. But other than that, and he was in their face. 5 of 9 from the field, 3 of 4 from the 3-point line. I guess he can't shoot. See, I've been telling y'all this all along. The reason Obi appears not to be able to shoot is because he's not getting the minutes he needs. He's not allowed to get into a rhythm. And if he does, he gets pulled anyway. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to watch. He had 6 boards last night. He's a really good rebounder. Okay? He is. He has games with no rebounds because he's running the floor so much and he has opportunities and he has certain people that are not finding him. So he's away from the basket. But he's a really good rebounder. If he was a full-time power forward, you would see him get, 8 to 10 rebounds a game. You would. I think, with the Amari Stoudemire comparison, he's a better rebounder. Amari was never a strong rebounder. He was obviously a finisher, right? He was never a strong defender. He was explosive, but he was never a great defender. In fact, he was a bad defender. And he could help you defensively, weak side, coming from the weak side to block shots. Amari was good at that. But overall, as a man-on-man defender, and as a team defender, he wasn't really that good. And he was never a strong rebounder. Obi has talent to be better in both areas. He's already a better defender than Amari Stoudemire ever was. He's a better defender. And that's thanks to Tom Thibodeau, But it was frustrating to watch. And I'm like, I have to keep asking myself during the course of the game, Tom, do you want to win? Because I know he does. Like, I know he wants to win, right? I feel that intense spirit of his to win. But when I see him do things like take Obi Toppin out the game when that crew is winning the game for you and the crew you had in there was losing the game for you, then he tried to mix and match. Okay? So he puts RJ in with Mobb Deep. Then he substitutes. Then eventually he brings back Julius Randle. That was the end of it to me. That was it. I was like, okay, that's it. Because, and again, Julius's problem to me is the lack of IQ. When he's even trying, like he was trying last night. He was putting forth effort. I mean, how many rebounds did he get? He ended up with 7 boards. Not double-digit boards, but he played 33 minutes. Tom spread the minutes out last night, which is good. But even when he's engaged, his IQ is so low. I mean, it is really low. Like, to be doing what he kept doing, triple teaming a guy that was double teamed and losing his man. And then once he double teamed and he double teamed, he came off his man double team. And when he just watched the ball swing and he stood there, he didn't even try to run back to his man. It's hard to watch. And yet with all that, the Knicks had a chance to win. And Tom is right at the end, we had 2 shots at the basket. The last one, Julius that was a heave. That wasn't going to go in. But the one RJ had was a good look. It was a 1-point game. It was 90, I think it was 93, 92 or something like that. And RJ should have driven to the basket on that play. He's killing teams by going downhill and they couldn't stop him either. And he was getting calls last night. He went to the line 10 times. Now, he missed 5 of his free throws. He was missing free throws like crazy last night. But he was getting to the line. They were calling on his favor a lot. I think his little tirade on Sunday woke some refs up because they have been letting him get smacked around for no reason. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, and he's getting hammered. So he should have went to the hole. I think the thing I'm comforted about R.J. Barrett, he will learn that. Like, he won't keep repeating that mistake. Okay? Like Julius. Julius is in his 8th season, and he's still turning the ball over too much. He's still making very boneheaded plays on the defensive end of the floor, and is no IQ. And so, low. RJ's not like that. RJ has a high IQ, and he will learn from this mistake. This is the difference. RJ's in the beginning of his career. Julius is in the midpoint, toward the other end. Okay. And so that's the big difference. So RJ should have went to the basket on that one. And Tom said it. Tom, said it in the press conference. Thibs said, he said, he had been going to the hole all night. He should have went to the basket right there. And you know what? That's correct. He should have went to the basket there. And he didn't. So that was a faux pas that could have, we could have won that game. If he goes to the basket there, good things usually was happening when RJ was going to the basket. He could have finished. He could have finished and got fouled. He could have got fouled. He had 3 good options there. And he had the lane actually to do it. He just took the shot. I think maybe he misjudged how much time was left on the clock. And I'm sure, like I said, the thing about RJ Barrett, he's going to look at that film and he's going to learn from it. He really is. And so I'm very convinced of that, and I'm not worried about it. Evan Fournier, again, the ball was not moving. And whenever Julius Randle comes down the floor, or Kemba Walker, he does it too in all fairness, but whenever one of them dribbles up the floor and doesn't pass the ball and just shoots, it's usually a fast break the other way if he misses. That's what happens. If it's a long rebound, it's a fast break the other way. Okay, the ball doesn't move and nobody touches it, and then they just shoot. Or he throws it to one player once, gets it back and shoots it. When it's going in, it's like one of those no, okay, it goes in, right? And that only encourages him to do it more. Whenever they come down and RJ's initiating the offense and everybody gets to touch the basketball, Fournier does better. Okay, he just does better overall. Okay, he has a problem when he's not touching the ball and when everybody's not touching the ball. He gets in a flow when the team is, and he has said that multiple times. But Julius started the game coming down and just firing. And it was fast breaks the other way. And Tom blamed the fast breaks. He said we had poor transition defense. Sometimes poor transition defense is set up by a bad shot. Okay, sometimes poor transition defense is set up by a bad shot. Okay, when you're taking bad shots, it sets you up to have poor transition defense because the ball always moves faster than people can run. So if you have a poor shot, a long rebound, your man, usually it was Julius's man outletting, the ball is flying through the air, down the floor, especially in the NBA, within a split second basket. Okay, and that was happening too much. And again, it's all depending on Julius Randle's mental condition at the time. Okay? If the offense is started through RJ and they're running the weave and everybody's touching the rock, good things happen usually. All right, good things happen. Now, Kemba with 8 points, Fournier with 7 is what it is. Nerlens, 29 minutes, 2 points, 13 boards though. And 2 steals. Nerlens was actually really good yesterday. We really missed Mitchell Robinson, though. We missed him because we got out rebounded 51-45, and while Nerlens game, he got obviously the length and he's got athleticism, but he's very, very light. He's almost like a bird. He's very light. And as active as he is, there's some rebounds Mitchell Robinson will get that Nerlens can't get. It's just as simple as that. Because Mitch's length, his athleticism, and he's a little stronger. We missed Mitchell Robinson last night. We missed him badly. So that was bad. Quickly, another horrible shooting game. 1 of 10 from the field. 1 of 6 from 3. But he had 6 assists He was plus 12. He scored 3 points. Again, he's part of a nice defensive unit. Mobb Deep plays really good defense. What you see them doing is stunting. They sometimes will go for the double and then come back, and then they'll stunt. You know who's really good at that too? Nerlens Noel. He stunts, and he makes the guy think he's coming, and then he gets back to his man. That's excellent. I love that defense, man. This Mobb Deep's defense is beautiful. And, and then Obi does the same thing, and then Gibson gives you the same thing, and then now Grimes. Mr. Grimes. Okay. He was shooting. Yesterday was 4 of 7 from the field, and all 4 of his shots were threes. They should have made sure on that last possession when Julius threw up that mess. It wasn't necessarily Julius's fault. It was a terribly run play. I was looking because I saw how they set up. And this is emblematic of our team. So I watched them set up. You got the guy out of bounds, and then they set up a triangle, so to speak. There were 2 guys at the 2 ends of the foul line and 1 guy at the dotted line, like set up like a triangle. And then you had Grimes in the corner, strong on ball side on the corner. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, he's got to have Grimes run through those 3 guys and get open, because Grimes was the hottest shooter last night. He's got to have Grimes run through those 3 guys and get picks, get his man picked off, and then end up, with an open 3, the top of the key. That's what I was thinking. Nope. Instead, they all kind of bumped into each other. And then Julius cut toward the ball, gets the ball in a bad spot because only 2 seconds left. And he throws up an off-balance shot that obviously didn't even hit the rim. But it was poorly executed. Whatever they were trying to run was poorly executed. I have to say, whatever they're doing in practice, they need to practice their last second shot execution with picks and stuff. Strong pick. See, and generally in those cases, the refs will not call a hard pick. Like, how they called, like yesterday on both Obi and on Taj, they called some stupid fouls on picks that weren't even fouls. They won't do that at the end of the game. In other words, you could set a hard pick in the last second, and they generally are not going to call it unless you make it too obvious, like you're blocking like an offensive lineman. But if you could set hard picks on that last shot, and they won't call that. Okay, they'll let a lot more physicality go with 2 seconds left. In fact, it's hard for them to watch everything with 2 seconds. They're watching the ball. So that's when, to me, I was sure they want to get, I see Grimes in the corner. Oh, man, they're going to have him run through 3 picks, and he's going to get to the top of the key, get the ball, and let's see if he gets that shot. No. So it was that type of night. Cleveland is a good team. They're 5th in the East. But the Knicks could have beaten them last night. Could have beaten them. The foul shooting was bad on both sides. They missed a lot of fouls, so that kind of cancels each other out. The Knicks were, as I said, RJ went to the line 10 times. They were 11 for 21, 52% from the foul shot. That's terrible. And Cleveland wasn't much better. They shot 60%. Mobley missed major free throws down the stretch. He was 3 of 7 from the free throw line. Major free throws down the stretch he missed. So, and they kept fouling him. By the way, Mobley is the deal. He's going to be the real deal. The kid is a rookie, man. He's going to be really good. They did not. I thought they were going to have Jared Allen with them last night. They did not. They were missing him. And we were missing Mitch Rob. So that was even also. It was pretty evenly matched game, honestly. So, and hats off to Bickerstaff. What a job he's done over there in Cleveland, putting that team together. They really, he did a tremendous job. Again, with no LeBron coming from the bottom again. They made some draft picks. They draft Garland. They draft Sexton. They draft Okoro. And now they got Evan Mobley. They sign Jared Allen. And man, and they hold over like a Sadi Osman. And man, they're really, really good. So, but last night, one more thing, Tom played 10 deep last night. So he played Randle 33 minutes, Noel 29 minutes, Walker 20, Fournier 21, and Barrett 34. Then he played Toppin 15, Gibson 19, Burks 18, Quickly 26, and Grimes 24. He legit 10 deep. I think it had to do with the second night of a back-to-back, though. I think that's what it was. Because that's unusual for him. And I wouldn't look for him to continue doing that. Although he should, especially with Cam Reddish now. You really should. But yeah, and some of y'all were asking, when do we start blaming the Don for this problem? After the trade deadline. We're looking for a move by the trade deadline. And I expect the Don to make a move to clear some space. And we're not trying to acquire anybody. Some of y'all just an automatic pilot. Who can we get? It's not about that. We're trying to clear space so the players we have can play. Right? Trying to clear space. I don't know who it's going to be. Like last night, Kemba Walker started. That put Cam out of the rotation. If Kemba Walker is gone, now Cam is in the rotation. And maybe if you trade a Burks, much as I hate it, now he doesn't have that Swiss Army knife. He has to play Deuce. Okay, so now you get Cam and Deuce in the rotation, just right there, like that. Okay, so, and I'm confident in Cam Reddish in the sense that Burks is more experienced. He's a veteran, 30 years old, whatever, and he's been around. He's been hitting big time shots his whole career. Former lottery pick, actually, out of Colorado is Burks. But I see the same talent with Cam Reddish, especially last year. If you remember him playing against Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference Finals, when he got a chance to play, he's a big time closer also. So I'm not worried about missing Burks if we got Reddish, and then you can use Deuce at the point guard. You'll be forced to. See, so we'll see what happens. But just simple moves like that could change a lot, right? So let's see what happens. And I hope they don't trade Obi Toppin. It really, when you see him do what he did last night and then get pulled. Anyway, is what it is. These are our Knicks, y'all. This is our squad. You know, we got to go forward. Got a tougher game against Miami on Wednesday. I'm expecting Mitch Robb to be back Wednesday. He was listed as questionable yesterday with the ankle sprain. Knowing Mitch Robb, he'll probably be back against Miami. And we're going to need him against Bam Adebayo in them. We're going to need him. You know, this is not going to be easy. We're going to need all our guys. So we'll see what happens. And also, one more thing. I don't think they're trading Randle. I mean, he's not eligible to be traded until February 5th. That doesn't mean they're not going to trade him. You know, they could be making a deal behind the scenes right now and get ready so that when that time comes, they send him off. But I don't think they're going to do that for a couple of reasons. Bad as he could be sometimes, he is still a force on the boards and he has enough respect that whenever he does play right halfway, he could be a force and he causes teams to watch him. And so if you want to make a playoff run, which I'm assuming the Knicks do, you're going to probably have to keep Julius Randle. And if you're going to trade him, it would have to be over the summer, because when you want to have a new crew, a new starting five, let's say you started Obi instead of Julius. Let's say you had Mitch Robb. Let's say you keep the same. Let's say you started IQ or Deuce at the point guard next year. You're going to need training camp. They're going to need time to gel. They can't just throw them together right now and think they're going to do something, right? They need time to gel. So probably they won't. I don't think they'll trade him. I'll be surprised if they trade him. I mean, it just appears to me that Dolan has his back. And that's good. No problem. Dolan has his back. But we'll see what happens. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think Randle's going anywhere. But anybody else, let's see. Randle's probably good. Cam Reddish is good. RJ Barrett is good. Mitchell Robinson is good. Derrick Rose is good. Taj Gibson is good. Those six going nowhere. Anybody else can be traded. Anybody else. Yeah. Let me go ahead. Randle, Barrett, Robinson, Gibson, and Rose. Yeah. Those are all, those guys. Yeah. Gibson, Rose, Barrett, Robinson, Randle. Yeah. 6 guys. Randle, Mitchell Robinson, RJ Barrett, Taj Gibson, Derrick Rose, Cam Reddish. None of those guys are going anywhere. This thing. Other than that, anybody's available. I know some of y'all think Mitch Robb is available. I don't think he is. I think Mitch Robb is staying. I think there's something going on with his contract. It's either, I think what it is he's probably asking for more money, or he wants to, he can't ask but for 55-6, and I think they would give that to him. he may be wanting to test the waters. You know, this is what happens when you wait too long to sign somebody that you should really sign. He probably wants to test the waters and see if he can get more than that on the open market, which he very well could. So let's see what happens. Anyway, y'all have a good Tuesday. Knicks play in Miami tomorrow. Doesn't get any easier. We'll talk. Shalom.